Hello, and thanks for joining us on Encore. Coming up on today's film show, the true tale of a slave rebellion overshadowed by controversy. We check out Nate Parker's Birth of a Nation. Gerard Depardieu's romance with Russia continues as he plays the Soviet purveyor of terror, Joseph Stalin. And we take a look at a French film festival that's making the best of le cinéma français, available all over the world. I'm joined by our film critic Lisa Nesselson. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, Olivia.
Now, we're starting with a really amazing initiative that is based here in France, but it's a truly international affair. It's My French Film Festival. That's running till February 13th. What is it about?
Well, it's a pretty smart strategy. Offer people all over the world an affordable chance to watch recent French movies in the comfort of their own homes, and they might just get hooked. France is the second biggest exporter of films after the U.S. 34 million people saw French movies in theaters outside France last year. Over 500 different French films were shown somewhere on Earth throughout 2016. And just so you know, ticket sales here in France for movies from all over the world combined were the second highest they've been in the past 50 years. Theaters may be closing in other countries all over the world, but in France, people still leave their homes to watch films on the big screen. But if you're not in France, this event, My French Film Festival, lets you order the way you would in a French restaurant, but much, much cheaper. So here's how it works. Anybody with a high-speed internet connection in just over 200 countries can watch a selection of French films with subtitles in 10 languages. In some countries, the 10 recent features, 10 short films, and at least one terrific classic are absolutely free of charge. Otherwise, you pay a dirt cheap €1.99, about $2 for one film, or $5.99 for an open bar, all-you-can-eat pass. Last year, the organizers say they tallied 6.5 million connections. It is free to watch throughout, listen up viewers, South America, all of Africa, in Mexico, Russia, Romania, Poland, and India. That's a lot of territory. So if you're in Canada or Australia and you want to save $5.99, you can take that trip you've been thinking about to Paraguay and watch My French Film Festival for free. And this is far from some confidential artsy-fartsy initiative. For example, it's available via iTunes in 91 territories out of 206. Amazon is on board, etc. In short, it's a big deal, and you are wisely given enough time to actually take advantage of it. And the short films are free wherever you may be.
Okay, so it's widely available, and I'm sure there's dozens of films to choose from. So what's your hot tip? What should we be going for first?
I can absolutely vouch for at least 4 offerings. Bang Gang, not gang bang, but bang gang. French works that way sometimes because, like, a walkie-talkie is a talkie-walkie in French.
Right.
This film has a lot of sex, a lot of co-ed nudity, and some very pertinent observations about the insidious role of social media in the lives of oblivious young people today. It has terrific performances by distinctive, pretty fearless young actors, and its particular take on youthful excess in the absence of adult supervision I find very refreshing. Let's take a look.
On va faire un jeu, t'es chaud? Ouais.
Quel genre de jeu?
Ça va. Ça vous dit un jeu les baltringues? Vous êtes chaud? Allez. Ouais. Par contre, je préviens, c'est pas pour les bolosses. Genre, c'est un peu comme Action Vérité, sauf qu'il y a que de l'action. Genre ça, quoi. Vous êtes chaud?
Ah non, vraiment?
T'es sûr, là?
Vraiment?
Bah quoi, on n'est pas à l'école maternelle, non? Genre...
Non, c'est vrai.
Ouais, c'est vrai.
La bouteille. Voilà. Et maintenant ta clé de 12. La bonne vieille clé de 12.
Ça aussi, là. Oh, les gars, un peu d'action, genre un peu plus, quoi. Ouais.
Another very different tale of youthful initiation is Peur de Rien. The English title is Parisienne, female Paris person. It's the semi-autobiographical story of a girl who comes to Paris from Lebanon in the 1990s. She doesn't quite have the papers that she needs to stay legally, but she gets by. She does odd jobs, some very odd, signs up for college classes, and becomes sexually involved with an interesting cross-section of men, none of them remotely traumatic. Newcomer Manal Issa, who you can see there, is absolutely splendid.
Now, France does have a reputation for showing sex on screen quite regularly, quite liberally. Is there anything that's a bit more family-friendly?
Yes, there is a very entertaining, completely unsmarmy, bittersweet comedy called The New Kid. It's a first film told with a wonderful cast and a sure hand about a teen boy who moves to Paris from a provincial town and is thrown into a high school environment where, as at schools the world over, the cool kids rule the roost and the dweebs and the geeks are on the outside looking in. Our protagonist is very resourceful, and his progress in fitting in feels absolutely authentic, and it's often laugh-out-loud funny. This is a movie that champions misfits by making them real characters and not walking punchlines.
Okay, well, as well as all this fresh young talent, there are classics as well. They make a point of showing a French classic as part of the selection.
And this year it is an authentic masterwork by Agnes Varda called Cleo from 5 to 7. I've probably seen this film 10 times and I never tire of it. In 1962, during the Algerian War, Varda shot in the streets of Paris in what feels like the real time of the title. And it's the perambulations of a beautiful, self-centered singer as she awaits the results of a medical test that may seal her fate. It's Parisian to the core, feminist in the best possible way, gorgeous, involving, touching, satisfying. I love this movie.
It certainly has some very iconic scenes, that one, yeah. Now we're moving to another film by a female director. That's a woman better known as an actress, Fanny Ardant. This is her third film as a writer-director. It's called Stalin's Couch, and I should imagine that couch is not really a reference to interior decorating.
No, Ardant, absolutely not. Ardant adapted her screenplay from a 2013 novel set in the early 1950s. Joseph Stalin, played by Gerard Depardieu, is taking a break at a large villa in his native Georgia with his mistress of 27 years. Forget global warming. For the entire time you're in the theater, you're in a climate of fear. Because before Russians could avail themselves of, say, computer hacking and infiltration via internet, who would do that? There was good old-fashioned electronic bugging, reel-to-reel tape recorders, and typed transcripts. How do you live your life if no utterance is private, if you probably can't trust anybody, including those you think know you best? If you're a servant and you break a cup, are you going to be, shunted off to Siberia? If you're a soldier and you pick a movie for your boss that he doesn't like, are you going to be bundled into a black sedan and shunted off to Siberia? Will hungry dogs be invited to gnaw on your legs? Stay tuned. Imperious, no-nonsense Russian strongmen may be all the rage in some quarters right now, but there is nothing admirable about the mass murderer who thinks he's the conduit for Lenin's teachings. Depardieu is subtly terrifying as Stalin. And Emmanuel Seigner couldn't be better as his mistress, who's a master of fear-driven, phony warmth. The couch is a piece of furniture Stalin realizes looks very much like the couch in the London apartment of a guy Stalin calls the charlatan.
I wonder who that would be.
Yes. He assigns Lydia to read Freud's On the Interpretation of Dreams and proposes a scary parlor game. He'll take the couch, recount some of his dreams, and it's up to Lydia to tell him what they might mean. A very scary exercise if you happen to say something that an erratic tyrant with absolute power over you would rather not hear. Let's take a look.
Le peintre est déjà là.
Comment allez-vous, camarade Danila?
Vous allez m'expliquer comment le prodige de la peinture déviationniste se propose aujourd'hui d'édifier le monument d'éternité à notre bien-aimé camarade Staline.
Ne leur donne pas prise sur toi avec des choses personnelles.
Je suis assis à une grande table, seul. Il y a le corps d'une femme qui devient rouge. La femme se tire une balle dans la tête. Elle se retourne, elle vise mon cœur. Ça m'a réveillé. Et selon toi, c'est qui, cette femme?
L'archétype de la femme qui pourrait te faire peur.
C'est qui? Une femme dont j'aurais peur?
Une femme assez libre pour décider de mourir quand elle veut.
So he's supposed to be on holiday, but it doesn't look particularly cheerful.
Well, the production design is delectably creepy, ominous. Screams are heard, but it's all done in an almost matter-of-fact way that makes it doubly sinister.
Okay. Well, we're finishing with an American period drama that's based on actually true events. That's out on French screens at the moment, Birth of a Nation. This is about the events leading up to a slave rebellion in Virginia in 1831. Tell us more.
Well, watching this film gave me a renewed sense of what people who aren't avid filmgoers must sometimes experience when they go out to see a movie because it's been praised to the skies. Obviously, they're anticipating something truly special, something rewarding. In a nutshell, I wasn't particularly moved. The true story of Nat Turner, a slave given to religious visions who led a notoriously bloody 48-hour rebellion, 3 decades before the Civil War broke out, should radiate the power of an indelible chapter in my country's history. But there's no creative spark in this film to speak of. There's some information, there's some good performances, but no spark.
And there has been a lot of controversy surrounding this film, in fact, and including the headline From Messiah to Pariah about the director, Nate Parker.
Well, this is due to a chain of events that I have to say make me intellectually queasy. I don't usually go for this stuff, but what's surrounding the film here is very interesting. You've heard the expression, there is no such thing as bad publicity. In this case, not true. The film had its world premiere exactly a year ago at the Sundance Film Festival, where it got a rapturous reception, some say unprecedented. And there was a bidding war with the distribution rights going for a record-breaking $17.5 million. It won the Grand Jury Prize and the Audience Award. It was immediately touted as the film to beat come year-end awards. Of course, that was only, the second week in January, a year ago. So what happened? The film was set for a triumphant October release in the U.S., but in August, it was reported that Nate Parker, who co-wrote, produced, directed, and stars, had, along with his co-screenwriter, been accused of raping a fellow student back in 1999 when they were college sophomores. Parker was found not guilty. The other man served prison time before being cleared in a retrial. And overnight, because of this information, incredibly adamant online comments and endless tweets made it clear that potential filmgoers were appalled and weren't going to give this alleged rapist the price of a movie ticket, even if they found the film's subject enticing.
There was a huge amount of media interest in this, I remember.
And perceived attitude, alas, counts for a lot in America, and Parker wasn't sufficiently contrite. He said he hadn't done anything wrong. He's the father of 5 daughters himself. He's very religious and believes God has a plan for him. Well, if his God works for the movie studio, that plan consisted of dropping the movie and its director like a hot potato. He went from being the toast of the town to being toast.
Okay, well, I suppose you'll have to judge for yourself. Thank you, Lisa, so much for joining us this week. We'll leave you with a short clip of Birth of a Nation. Remember to check out our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
I pray you sing a new song. Sing praise in the assembly of the righteous. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let the high praise of God be on the mouths of the saints and a two-edged sword in their hands to execute vengeance on the demonic nations and punishments on those peoples, to bind their kings with chains. This honor have all his